is Lizzi the right wife? And the answer that came back was no. He's like, no, she's not the right wife. Do I only love you when you do what you say you're going to do? Do I actually love you for who you are? And I realized that I was, again, trying to get you to perform to make me feel better about who you are. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Late Night Date Night podcast. On this episode, we talk a lot about our 4-year wedding anniversary. We ask ourselves one simple question. Do we love each other for who we are or what we do? We go deep on all of the symptoms that have led to us performing in our marriage at times, questioning whether or not we're the right partners for one another, and inevitably becoming soulmates. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Well, today's our 4-year wedding anniversary, and as we were talking, it's just wild to look back on how much has changed. And we were just talking, year one, we were super close. We got married. We found a house, we got married, we closed on the house the week after marriage, and then 2 weeks later we found out we were pregnant with Luca.
Yep.
And it was this year of just these amazing things that happened, and it was like this, it always happens like that. All of these amazing things happen at once. There's this life change, and then you step in, and then we started looking back on year 2 was really challenging, year 3 was really challenging, and half of year 4 was challenging. Yeah, I find ourselves in this place right now where the last 6 months have been absolutely amazing, and as we begin year 4, I feel closer to you now than ever. But there's one conversation that we had just the other day that has rocked me to my core. And you said something, right? You're sitting here launching your women's standard community call. For all the women that are part of the standard sequence, all the men that are in my group, it's access for their wives to have a support group. And you've been talking about it for so long. If there's one lesson that I feel like I still haven't fucking learned, it's to not coach your wife. It's like, I know this, I tell my guys this, yet part of me, I can't turn it off. And so it wasn't in bad intentions, but I felt like there was this thing where you said you were going to post about it, you said you were going to do it, and it just kept going and going, and nothing was happening. And I kept holding up a mirror and pushing you and trying to control the situation, and then you snapped and you go, do you only love me when I'm performing and doing the things that you want me to do? Kind of like shook me to the point where I had to ask myself, do I only love you when you do what you say you're going to do? Do I actually love you for who you are? And the moment that you said that, there was something that came up for you from your past. What was that?
I feel like this old childhood wound got activated within me, and I just started like hyperventilating, crying.
What's the wound?
As a child, I just felt like I had to perform. Just growing up in dance, if I didn't stand front row center, have a solo, get Miss Showbiz or whatever, Miss West Coast, or like make this team, like I wasn't good enough or worthy of love, you know, and that hurts. And so when it felt like it got activated a little bit, when I felt like we were just in Costa Rica and we were having fun, we had a great time, but you were also asking like, is everything okay? Like, are you enjoying yourself? Are you having fun? And things like that. And I was like, well, is something wrong with me because I'm having fun? Like, I thought it was a great trip. And then,
I mean, you want to talk about projecting. It's me projecting onto you. Because at the time, there's, it's not that I wasn't having fun. I was having an amazing time in Costa Rica. We were jumping in the pool. We were walking on the beach. We were sweating our dicks off, eating food. It was so hot out there. I was having a great time. But there's also a part of me that there's this deep thing inside of me that feels like if other people aren't having fun, it's my fault. And so I try to perform, right, to help other people have fun. And so I think what I was doing was projecting onto you. I just noticed the fact that if you're not in a certain emotional state, it's almost like I love you less. And that's hard to admit. It's weird. When you're not happy and you're not having fun and it's, not angry Lizzie, but like toned down Lizzie, it's not that I love you less, I just like you less. Mm-hmm. That's weird to say, but I'm being completely honest here because I don't want this to be anything but real. And I had to ask myself the other day, do I love you more when you're doing the things that you say you're going to do? And the answer was a resounding yes. And that's fucked up because then it becomes conditional love.
You could also argue, though, in my sense, that it's just integrity,
Yeah, that's fair.
And doing what I say I'm going to do. But I think the fears of not being ready or not having the credentials and like, do I want to do this, were all swirling in my head, that I just wasn't confident enough to like make that leap for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think one of the things that got into my head too down in Costa Rica is one of my coaches, he continues to push me and challenge me. He's like, you need to ask yourself harder questions. And one of the questions I asked myself in the middle of a stack, which is my morning journaling prompt, was, is Lizzie the right wife? And the answer that came back was no. He's like, no, she's not the right wife. And I'm sitting there having this conversation with God, just typing in my stack, being like, hey, not really the most opportune time you say this. I'm in Costa Rica with my wife and my kids. Like, what? And the next phrase that came out was right woman, wrong container. And so I went down that rabbit hole a little bit further. I was like, well, what does that mean? And the conversation came back once again, and it was, stop trying to control her because it's about your insecurities, not her growth. And I realized that I was, again, trying to get you to perform to make me feel better about who you are. Trust me, this has been a mind fuck for the last week.
Yeah, my head is like spinning a little bit.
Yeah. And so all it meant to me was like, yes, you're the right woman. We are in the right marriage. But if I keep treating you this way, where I expect you to show up a certain way, and if you do, then I'm okay with it. But if you don't, then it's conflict, is not fair.
Yeah.
It's conditional love. If you do this, then I will love you. If you take first place, then you are worthy. If you make money as a man, then you have value. And that sparked the second question, which I asked you last night. If I wasn't making money, would you still stay with me?
Yeah, I just had this conversation on my community call. There's always been this like deep knowing within my soul that like you are the right man. Like I know who I married with the right values, and I wanted someone who was driven, and you are those things.
But if me being driven is a level of performance for me, that I feel like if I have to perform and be driven in order to have love given back to me, if all of that went away, would you still be in this relationship?
Yeah, I think so. Because we've had our challenges as you've launched like your new business, you know, and like I've been around.
I'm not saying like the only reason you're with me is because I make money and provide. I'm not saying that. I think there's just this deeper level that I've been experiencing of wondering, like, if things were different, if you didn't show up in some of the ways that you did, would I still be with you? And for me, the answer is still yes. Like, the more I chip away at this, the more I realize that I don't just love you for the things that I see and the things I experience. I truly love you for your soul. That's what I told you today. Like, I didn't believe in soulmates. I told you on our wedding week, I remember looking at you when you and I were going to write our vows up in Steamboat, and you're like, you asked me about soulmates, and I said, I don't believe in soulmates. And you started to break out in tears, which is, I'm like, cool, failed the first test as a husband, wedding week. And I was like, I just don't believe in soulmates. And it was because my soul, I was so disconnected from myself that I didn't believe it was true. Yet now I find myself 4 years later, after you've breathed life into me and you've shown me a different way of living and you've challenged me and we've come together, that me being able to be connected to my soul means I can actually have a soulmate. And I look at you that way. But it wasn't that way. And so now that I look at this thing of like, if I stop doing this, if I stop performing, will she still love me? The real question is, am I expecting you to perform so that I can love you?
I mean, I hope not.
No, and it's not the case.
I think it's a level of like holding your partner accountable to what they say that they're going to do so that you can continue to grow as a couple and get out of those old patterns and old ways of being. But I also think it's like this level of grace that we have to extend, or that I want to extend to you, and I want you to extend it to me in certain times too.
But when can I hold you accountable versus giving you grace? Because at some point, if I say I'm going to do something and then I don't do it and you give me grace, that's great. And then if I don't do it and you give me grace, that's great. But at what point is it no longer about grace and it's like, hey, you said you were going to do this, shit, or get off the fucking pot?
Yeah.
Like, when does that happen?
I'll speak for myself, but I think as a woman, I just don't want to be coached by you, and sometimes
That's
I
fair.
just want you to hear and understand what I'm saying and know that there's like this internal battle inside my head of like, can I do this? Should I not do this? Am I capable? Do I have enough credentials? Can I do this in a positive way and not impact someone like negatively? You know, it's like all of these negative thoughts or beliefs in myself that kind of like come up, and sometimes I just need someone to like breathe life into me instead of being like, hey, you're not doing this, what's going on, why aren't you doing this? And then it's even worse when it's like, well, you're not having fun, or like feeling like I wasn't good enough to receive your love, even though I wasn't doing what I said I was supposed to be doing. And I don't want this to be like me coming off as the victim.
I don't think you are at all. I think that's just the truth of what was happening. I wasn't loving you for who you were. I was loving you for what you did. And that's not fair. Because that comes back to the exact place that I've been. So you have your thing from your childhood. As a kid, I might look really tall on video, but I'm not. Right? I'm 5'6", and as a little kid, I got picked on and beat up constantly. Like my parents would find me, and I'll never forget this one time. We were living in New Jersey, and we were at the bottom of this hill, and there was this tree house at the top, and we had all climbed up, and the kids said that we had to swing out, and the kids, instead of letting me swing out, they shoved me out of the tree house, and I fell on the ground. And then all 8 of them came around me and started beating me up. They were like kicking me in the chest and kicking me in the face. And for whatever reason, my dad had made the decision to come down and get me. Maybe it was dinner time, and he broke it up, but I was pretty fucked up. And it was one of those moments where I realized that like I had to create something to stop that from happening. And I believe that's what birthed this performance thing inside of me, because we had moved. That was our first move, and we were getting ready to move to Texas, and then we moved to Colorado, and there's all of these moves, and I realized that if I could just be funny, people would leave me the fuck alone. And so inevitably I created this persona that if I could get people to laugh, they would leave me alone.
Right.
Yet that started to create just other things. I could become a chameleon in any group, and it was constantly this performance. And so a lot of times I just wonder for myself, is me performing forcing you to perform?
I think we're in this interesting phase in life where we have gotten closer to God and what He is calling us to do. And in a lot of ways, for me, that can be uncomfortable at times, but it also feels very right in my heart and my soul. But still, there's like this hump that I need to get over in my own mind to be able to do that. And so sometimes it feels like I'm performing to be that next version of myself, but I'm not in a sense as well.
I think I know what you're saying, but I want to ask. It's almost like the moment that I stepped into this relationship with God, there was all of this, it was like a purification season. Inevitably, all of the things that I was and was not started to be brought to the surface, and the things that no longer served me got stripped away.
Yeah.
And I found strength and certainty and confidence in my relationship with God, not religion, with God. And it's allowed me to give less fucks about what other people think about me, because now I know who I am and not who is performing.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening for me is, as those things were stripped away and this new version of me has been revealed, the guy that's always been in there, that was covered up by these stories and these beliefs and this performance, this new guy's coming out, and he's all of me. But it feels foreign because it's been so long since I've experienced him.
Yes.
And this is why I've had so many friends, and I'm sure you have too, be like, dude, you've changed. I'm like, I know. That's kind of the point of life.
Yeah.
I'm not performing anymore. I'm just being me. And it might seem like a performance to you, but it's a return to self.
Right. To return to self. It's elimination of all of these things that no longer serve you. Like exactly what you said, the pruning season.
Yeah.
Self-limiting beliefs, the negative thoughts, the relationships that aren't good for you anymore.
And that's why when there's this place of, you say truth and grace, and we've created this vision for our marriage of what we want and what we want our life to look like and how we want to feel and show up as parents and all of that. And when you are out of alignment, or I'm out of alignment with that, yes, there's grace, but there's also like, hey, this is the truth about where you're at. That's where we're going, and you're kind of slowing us down, Sergio. So if you could just get back on course and be in alignment with your integrity and who you said you were going to be, we can continue to go. But right now, we're just in this circle jerk cul-de-sac because you keep being in this place of not doing what you say you're going to do, Sergio. So, hey, listen, I love you, but you got to do something. Because that's what you told me when it came to real estate.
Yeah.
I kept talking about getting out and staying in, getting out and staying in. And one point you came up to me and you put your hand on my shoulder and you go, I don't care what you do, just make a fucking decision. All right, yeah, I'd probably be sick of hearing you talk about this too and complain all the time. Okay, cool, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do. I know it was what I needed to hear at the time. I didn't like hearing it, but I think the part that I especially didn't like hearing was the piece on like, am I the right woman? If this is how it's going to be, then I don't want to be in this relationship.
What was I referring to though?
My inability to move.
No, that's not what that was about. I said, if I have to continue to come to you and pull truth and pull what you're going through out of you, and you won't open up to me, even though I've created this safe container, which I believe I did, and I might be wrong. But if you don't want to open to me, I don't want to be in a relationship where I constantly have to just pull shit out of you. And I'll own the fact that if you're not opening up, it's most likely because you feel judged or you don't feel safe. And I'll own that shit.
I felt both of those things.
Well, then it makes sense. So like me saying that, right? Again, it's me projecting, being like, hey, I think I'm doing this, when deep down inside, if I was being 100% honest with myself, I wasn't making you feel that way. And I see this with guys all the time. They're like, my wife, she'll never open up, or she's such a bitch. I'm like, yeah, but you don't create the space for her to feel safe. Like, that's your job as the male in the home, is to create that. So
everything changes when a woman feels safe and able to express her feelings without judgment.
What else do you think changes when you feel safe?
We're more connected, both emotionally and intimately, when you don't have that sort of like sense of safety that I can show up with all of these emotions and all of these beliefs that I have about myself that are preventing me from being able to move forward. It just kind of keeps you stuck in them. I do this thing where I just like try and think my way through it and being like so caught up on like, this is the big picture, instead of focusing on the small steps that I need to take in order to get there. It was hard for me to move and make that decision of like, okay, I'm gonna launch this women's community call, when I felt like I was just being judged for not doing it like sooner, or saying I was going to and then I just didn't. I feel like I also had to give myself grace because I said I was going to, and then I was gone in Minnesota, and then we came back, and then we were in Costa Rica for 8 days or whatever. And then we came back, and then I think I waited a week, or no, I didn't. I launched it like that Monday, and then it happened.
And the moment you launched it, I told you I was proud of you. And then you came back and you said, are you only proud of me because I took action? And you're not proud of me for the work I was doing inside. Dude, I swear, we have more deep conversations in this fucking kitchen than anywhere else.
Yeah, the kitchen or the bathroom.
The kitchen or the bathroom. I remember there's been so many times where we've just both been sitting in the bathroom, in our master bathroom, just crying, having a conversation about something that has come up. And I feel like right now, the conversations that we're having, I don't know about you, but I feel this turbulence building back in our life. And it's very similar to the way I felt in 2021. There's turbulence, there's movement, something's happening, yet I'm super composed and calm with whatever it is, right? I got Garrett trying to convince me to move to Miami. I got this business that I'm building. I have there's homes that I want to buy. There's things that are moving in different directions. And in the center of it all is me asking myself, can I build this not from a place of performance, but from a place of presence?
It's a big question. Not trying to get the numbers, like truly just doing it out of presence and out of being exactly who you are. But I feel like there's so much fulfillment when you can do it that way. And then when you do it that way, it gives you like this good reassurance within your soul that like you did it out of integrity and out of
purpose
and out of alignment, or within alignment, that you reap the benefits of like that emotional
like connection to yourself.
The emotional connection to yourself, but also like the growth that you see within yourself, and then you reap the rewards in other ways in life.
So on the other side of this performance-based relationship, performance-based life, there's a present-based life. And one of the messages that has been resounding every time I'm sitting down in the morning, typing in my stack and reading my Bible, is God continuously saying, create from presence and who you are, not what you do.
Yeah.
And I've had to ask myself, what does it mean to create from a place of presence and peace and not from a place of chaos and force? I know how to build a 7-figure real estate business out of force and chaos. I was trying to fill a hole inside of me, a chip on my shoulder, trying to prove everybody else wrong. And I did it, but at what cost? I lost myself. Now, on the other side of this is me building something with you in a place of presence. I'm intentional with my body. I'm intentional with my spirituality. I'm intentional with our marriage and with our kids. And even though that piece is opened up and I need to be more intentional in that, I'm also intentional in my business. And what I have found is that it's less chaotic. There's more peace. But because there's peace, I feel more anxious because I'm not used to it.
Well, we'd usually be like fighting and at each other's throats every single day, you know, when you'd come home from work at 6 p.m. and I'd been with the kids all day long without a break, you know.
So the last couple of days, I've come up or come home and I'm expected to be greeted by this stoic, cold woman. And I found that you are more loving, more connected, and more appreciative when I walk through the door. It's almost like you're excited to see me. And both times I was like, the first time I was like, oh, maybe she had a glass of wine. Second time I was like, oh, maybe she's on a period. But the third time it happened, I was like, this is different. What is like? I'm just gonna say the same word 7 times. What is going on?
I think it's this integrity piece within myself. You know, like I didn't like to hear what you said of like, you said you were gonna do this and you didn't, but it also encouraged me to like move and actually launch the thing. And when I'm in alignment with what I say I'm going to do, and like on the way to who I'm becoming, like it just gives me this inner strength and like self-confidence in myself that like I am who I say I am. And even if I don't feel like that person that has a women's community call, like at the same time I am. And so it just gives me this confidence and strength and peace and clarity that it feels uncomfortable right now, but at the same time I'm doing it through the discomfort and it's great.
And
you know,
and I think you just nailed it. I didn't even realize it. I guess I've just watched as we both have just been more consistent with what we say we're going to do. We're walking in integrity and we're seeing what happens individually and then coming collectively. And so to celebrate our 4-year anniversary in this place, knowing that we've gone through some battles and we've gone through some fights, we've waged some wars, and we said some things that we shouldn't have said, and at the same time, we've never given up on one another. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
When you think about the last 4 years, what is a memory that sticks out to you?
Happy or sad?
I mean, I'm not. You get to choose.
Okay.
So that one time we got into a fight in the. I mean, you can go down this dark path if you want, but
Well, I have been reflecting on the last 4 years and just our relationship as a whole, because we're also coming up on 10 years together this year.
Am I your longest relationship now?
Yes.
Fuck you guys. First place, baby.
You were like 3 years ago.
That's not true.
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, you know,
That's 7
winners
years.
win. Winners don't even know they're winning when they're winning, but we're winning.
I've just been reflecting on like our relationship and our life together so far, and I can see now how the struggles that we experienced early on in our dating life have led to us to couples and individual therapy, and then entering motherhood and parenthood, you know, like having the struggles early on with imbalanced roles in the household, and how like every decision from, it sounds ridiculous, I know, please take out the trash, or like, can you watch Luca in the morning so that I can go to the gym? Like all of those things and those small decisions that we made for our relationship and for each other, just stacked on top of each other for us to come up into this life where we have a balance, we're building something together, and we're more like emotionally connected to each other and like ourselves.
Is there a story of a moment that you realized as you were reflecting that changed that?
Well, I think back to our wedding day and just how much fun it was. Like having all of the people that we love in the same place in the mountains. And we were like so connected because we had called off our wedding like 3 years for
3 years in a row.
3 years in a row, 3 different times. And like we finally got to this point in our marriage or with each other where we were like, okay, we're going to commit to this even though we've had a lot of struggles. You've stayed in a hotel before by yourself. I've cried up in the closet, you know, like we got to the wedding day and it was just so special to be surrounded by the people that we love and feel so connected together and spend a whole week in Steamboat together, like hiking, having Aperol Spritz on the patio, like sweating because the Airbnb that we had didn't have air conditioning because it was abnormally hot up there that summer. And just doing things that we loved and being fully together before we actually got married on Saturday was so memorable and so special. And I would recommend that to anyone to do if they can. But then even after the wedding, you know, like we recovered that next day and then we went on like a little road trip. And it was just so nice to have that like 2 weeks off together where we could do things that we love together, being in the mountains. We went hiking, we went to Telluride, which is one of like our most favorite places together. Had drinks up in front of like the wall. If you've been there, you know, and just sit there and have drinks out of the back of the car and connect and have fun together.
Yeah.
And so
make a baby.
We made a baby because I was pregnant like 2 weeks later. Yeah, it's
that was
like,
a great one.
It was just so special, and we've done it the last 3 years together, and we have to do it still today. But like we have to watch our video from the day because it always just makes me so emotional and brings back all of the memories of why we wanted to commit to each other.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest memories for me was this moment that we took our very first trip down to Telluride. And we're driving in your Honda Elantra and the windows are down and we're listening to music and you're in this shirt that says Squad and I'm just driving, we're having a good time, and we pull into Telluride for the very first time and we're both just like blown away. You have this beautiful box canyon, and the reason we had gone down there is me trying to act cool in front of you and perform at one point. I was like, hey, we should do the Via Ferrata down in Telluride. Not thinking that you were going to actually book the fucking trip. So we go down there and you surprise me and you're like, hey, guess what we're doing? And I was like, what? You're like, we're going to do the Via Ferrata. I was like, I don't think you understand what that means. I was just, you know, I was talking about it. This was like a 10-year goal. I didn't want to do it this year.
It was on our vision board.
Well, yeah, I know. But again, I was trying to act cool. I didn't think this was going to be a thing. So we show up and in my mind, I'm like, this girl is going to fucking bail. Right? She's a prissy cheerleader. She's never going to make it. And so that morning we wake up and it's like 8 a.m. and it's chilling. We got our rain jackets on and we meet our guide and she has us scramble up these rocks to get to the trailhead of the Via Ferrata.
Yeah.
And I remember like watching you climb the rocks and I was like, okay, she's pretty athletic.
Yeah.
And then I asked the guide, I was like, did you have us do this to see if like we were athletic enough? And she's like, yes. I was like, cool. So we get to the goat trail of the Via Ferrata. And, you know, as you're walking out, you can see the mountain just kind of drop. And like, it's, you know, it's about 100 feet, 200 feet cliff. As you're traversing across the Via Ferrata, you have this waistband and then you hook into cables and then you're traversing over. And once you're out there, you're out there. And you're like fully exposed. It's 100-foot drop. You're just like this little rinky dinky.
It's more than 100 feet.
Well, in the beginning.
It's like 800.
Well, it's like this little rinky dink thing. And then you get to this one place and it's called, I don't know, it's like it's like this, it's the iconic picture that you'll see.
Yeah.
And Lizzie and I are sitting there and we're just fully exposed, 1,000-foot drop. And we're just like, oh my God. And I'll never forget, right before we got on, you started to cry. And I was like, oh. In my mind, I was like, fuck yeah, we get to turn around. It's not my fault.
No
and then
way.
you're like, no, we can do this. And I was like, yeah, you can do this. And we did it. And it was the first time that you and I did something challenging together that pushed both of our limits. And we got super close because of that. And then we had the best sex of our life after that because of how close we were. But I remember that just being such a cool moment for us because we both did something that we were both terrified and we did it together. Your favorite memory from the wedding?
Probably when Forrest baby birded you, because it's what everyone talked about.
I'll never forget. That's my favorite memory too.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I made such a mistake, and it's the best mistake I've ever made. Was I asked Dane and JB to speak at my wedding, and then I had John speak at it. Well, at Dane's wedding, I called up all of our friends. I got blacked out, wasted in Italy. I called up everybody to come speak. The speeches went on for like 17 hours. And so Dane returned the favor. And part of Dane returning the favor was him bringing Forrest up. And they had bought this, like, I don't even know what it was. It was like a hoof. It was like a flask, but it was a hoof. It was like an antler hoof.
Yeah.
And they had put Don Julio tequila in there. And so in front of everybody, Forrest put tequila in his mouth. And then I got down on one knee and he spit tequila in my mouth like a baby bird. And I'll never forget hearing my parents go, "Oh my fucking God." And I look over and my parents are like this. Now, they've seen me do a bunch of wild shit.
Yeah.
So the fact that they were mortified and I could hear just the groans in the crowd, I knew we had done something. But then it got even better.
Gets better.
Remember this?
Yep.
So we're driving down to the Palisade and I see Forrest on Instagram, COVID positive. And I was like, motherfucker. So now all of a sudden people are being like texting us and emailing us and be like, there's somebody positive at COVID. And mind you, this is when everybody was like all up in arms about it. Right. So I'm like, well, what do we do? So I didn't get COVID for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Probably because we all drank a bunch of Molly water too that night at the wedding. My mom was like, your friends are so nice. I'm like, yeah, Mom, they're hopped up on ecstasy. Everybody's really nice right now.
Yep.
And so I'm sitting there and I remember I didn't get COVID. So we open up our email as we're getting ready to go into the winery, and I just said, send all, and I go, somebody tested positive for COVID. Please follow your local CDC guidelines. Send, and then I deleted the email account.
Yeah.
Best memory. I'm glad we both have the same memory.
Yeah, that was great.
So listen, it's interesting. You go through these seasons of life where you just continue to grow and evolve and reveal the true version of you. And what I love is that the more we reveal ourselves individually, the closer we become collectively. And I truly believe that it's the stripping away of who we are not that allows our souls to come together. So listen, if you like this podcast, leave us a review. 5 stars. It'd be great. Tell us why. If you think this is complete dog shit and you still believe that Lizzie shouldn't have had a second child with me, which is some of what you said, go ahead and leave a 1. That's fine too. Either way, come follow her on Instagram at Lizzie Ray. Come follow me at Sergio Nazzaro. And until next time, take care. Peace.